There's a guy who wrote an article, I think it was on Bleacher Report today. 49er players who need to be impressive in training camp to avoid being cut. That's the thing about training camp. Some guys are out there
is number one on my list.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing about camp and about the preseason. Some guys are out there just tuning it up, man. I'm just getting it tuned up. Other guys are like, this might as well be Super Bowl freaking Sunday because
that's the mentality you need
my
to have,
job
right?
is on the line and my ability to provide for my family is on the line. And so you see guys playing like it's the Super Bowl in the preseason, and you got other guys who are kind of like, hey man, I'm just trying to shake off the rust. So it's kind of a dangerous time for some players because, man, you can't, the old saying, there's no easing into a street fight. Well, there's no easing into a NFL roster, into an NFL game of any note, even in the preseason. So you better strap it on and be ready to roll. But who would you put in that category? I'll give you the guys that they have.
Okay.
They've got down here Ty Davis Price, who was last year's third-round draft choice. He's got a very deep offensive backfield to battle. You got, the Niners are going to keep Juice, the fullback, and they've got McCaffrey and Elijah and Jordan Mason,
they go with
TDP, Ronald Awatt, Kalen Laburn, and all those guys can play, man. I mean, I'm telling you, you're really going to love Laburn and Awatt.
Oh, I love Laburn. Like that, he's my circle player.
Him.
Yeah, like there's a possibility that he beats out one of these guys. Yep.
300 plus carries this year.
A different type of runner than Jordan Mason. I know Jordan Mason has a lot of power too, more north-south guy, but Laburn has the burst. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the thing that Tom Mason lacks is that burst, but he can.
He's lighter this year though, Breezy. You gotta wait till you see
bring
Mason.
Him down. As long as he stays strong up top, like I'm good. Like if you can't bring him down, that's good. He's a tough runner. But TDP can, like, he looks good too.
He did. He looked good in the mini camp. He looked fast.
Oh my gosh, he's fat. His cutting ability. Oh my gosh, like this is gonna be. I told you the battles are gonna be crazy. The running backs room, cornerbacks, wide receivers, like 85 of them. Like the tight end battle is gonna be crazy. Oh my. Offensive line is going to be crazy. I mean, we know Trent Williams, but there's going to be some battles. I'm excited. I'm excited.
It's if you like good football competition, man, this camp is going to provide a ton. But TDP is one of the guys they have listed here. They also have Ross Dwelley and Charlie Werner listed here. Yeah, this is interesting too because the Niners. We all turned off the TV last year going, Tyler Kroft, you know what I mean?
One play.
And I definitely think the Niners went into the draft saying, we got to upgrade the tight end spot. Here's another amazing stat from last year. I couldn't believe it when I looked it up. Guess how many catches 49er tight ends not named George Kittle had last year?
In the teens, maybe?
7.
I didn't even make 10.
7 catches outside of Kittle from non-Kittle tight ends for the Niners. 7.
All right. Well,
that's a ridiculously low number.
It's ridiculous, but like how is Ross Dwelley now on the football field? He has some of the best hands in football.
Very dependable
Soft
receiver.
Hands. You throw it somewhere near his vicinity, he comes down with it. He's probably the second best. He probably has. I think I went on camera and said I think Ross Dwelley has better hands than George Kittle. George Kittle dropped the ball a lot, but he also gets more targets. But Ross Dwelley has really nice hands. He can't block. He can't. It's something that's keeping him off the football field.
Dwelley's not a blocker. He's kind of like a jumbo receiver, but he's a really dependable special teams guy. Warner's not a power blocker. Like, Latu's got more power in the lower body. I think he can actually move people on the line of scrimmage. Warner's kind of like that guy that locks on you and doesn't let go, and he just keeps the legs churning. He's a good try-hard blocker. He's a good second-level blocker. He can pick off an athlete in space, but he doesn't give you much as a receiver. I just think that Cameron Latu, because he was a third-round pick, because he's got, he's a stud, man. If you watch Latu, he's 6'4", 6'5". He's got a really big athletic body. And
I
then
really
Braden
like
Willis.
Braden Willis. I
Braden
really
Willis,
like
I think,
Braden
is going to be the
Willis.
number 2 tight end. I think
I
Warner and Dwelly might be on the unless they keep more than 3 tight ends, and I can't see them doing it with 3 quarterbacks and 10 D linemen and all these receivers and all these backs and I just can't think they're. I think they're going to keep 3 tight ends, and I think they're going to keep Kittle, Willis, and Latu, and I think both Dwelly and Warner get cut.
I think, even though those two guys are rookies, you upgrade at the tight end position, especially from a pass catching perspective. You want other options for your quarterbacks to go out there. You could come up there in different types of personnel too, like, you know what I'm saying? So having like 3 tight ends out there on the goal line that can be some type of pass catching option, like that's scary, right? You can even line Willis up in the backfield. He's still accounted for a tight end and then split out Christian McCaffrey or Jordan. Like there's so many options that Kyle Shanahan can utilize with better talent at the positions. I'm agreeing with you. I think that he goes with the 2 rookies. I really do. But I think Dwelly will be cut and then put on the practice squad. And then you have a serviceable guy because he can also spell and play fullback, right? If you need him. And so
yeah, but Willis can too, and there's something about Willis that's really impressive too. He reminds me a lot of Jawan Jennings in that he runs across the middle of the field with zero fear. I mean, he's not worried about getting starched by a linebacker or a safety, and maybe he should have more appropriate fear. But Willis, to me, is a very likable player. A couple last ones before we cut this off. Callie Young says, Wayne, Ronnie Bell, or Tay Martin. What do you think of this one? We saw that film of Big Play Tay catching balls from Lance at TCU, and everybody's focusing on Lance. But I was kind of focusing a little bit on Tay, and Tay looks great.
He does, but Bell can
he's not fast.
But Bell's not that fast either, but Bell's football fast. He's 4.5. He ran 4.5, but on the field, he doesn't play like a 4.5 guy. And Ronnie Bell can line up in the slot. He can line up outside. He can return. I mean, you got to go with the guy that can do more. At the end of the day,
Patel says Croc says Tay can't separate. Croc's right, but I will say this: Tay's 6'3" with long arms.
He's a bigger target. But how many of our quarterbacks are throwing the ball up in the air for the guys to go out and go get them though? So like it's more about getting the ball, catching it in space, guys getting open, and boom, they take off. That's Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell.
Are you a Michigan guy, Breezy?
I'm a Michigan guy.
Cupcake says Breezy's a Michigan guy.
I'm a Michigan guy.
Well,
but I
mean,
watched Bell do it.
I'm with you on Bell. I'm with you on Bell.
Take deep passes down the field from no non-named quarterbacks. Like the kid, he struggles getting open too. So don't get it twisted. But I think that will come in his his football regime in the NFL. I think it'll definitely come. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. So it's going to happen. College is a little different. You can always get open in college. It's not that hard.
I'll say this though. The one thing that I read about Bell that was like, whoa, that's the eye opener, was when I'm doing the deep dive after the draft. I was going into Dane Brugler's breakdown, and Brugler for the Athletic, former NFL scout. This guy's really, really good. I mean, he's got the guy got a C- in geography. As a sophomore in high school. I mean, the guy's just got every freaking detail. The thing that made my eyes open was that Ronnie Bell's dad is a football coach. Okay, so that always makes me think, okay, that means football's important to him, because if your dad's a coach, that you're at the dinner table, hey dad, pass the salt. What'd you think of that out route? You know what I mean? It's like you're in that mode all the time when your dad's a coach. But then I read more. His dad is a current college football wide receiver coach. That's why Ronnie Bell looks like Ronnie Bell. That's why Ronnie Bell looks like a 5-year veteran, because he essentially is. His dad coaches the position. I think it's like either Central Illinois or Eastern Illinois, or it's some smaller college. But when your dad is a football coach, the sport. But when your dad is a football coach, a wide receiver coach, now you've got a level of knowledge and attention to detail that's far greater. So I think Ronnie Bell, Tay Martin, and Jawan Jennings is going to be an incredible battle. And I think only one of those guys makes the team. Jennings obviously has made some big catches in Niner history.
Yeah.
So you got to give him the advantage. But man, after watching Ronnie Bell in the OTAs, he kept catching balls breezy in a crowd. Never bothered him. He plucks it with his hands. He's not going to separate a ton, but man,
that's what I was
his
saying.
ball skills are nice.
His separation is, but if his separation is iffy, but I think he can learn that, right? That's technique, right? It's not his speed. It's just it's his get off. It's the way he's getting out of his breaks. He's dealing with bigger guys, press guys. But I tell you what, you go ahead and play off of him if you want to. Like that's where he excels. And so like he can be a problem. I actually feel like the Niners are going to take 6 wide receivers and he'll be the 6th. So
Okay.
if you have him taking 5, then I see where you're going with this because I still think Ray makes the squad, but I feel like Bell is that replacement. This is Ray's last year on his contract, and this is where Bell comes in and takes that spot, right? Kid that can run kickoffs, a kid that can play wide receiver, kid that can line up in the backfield. It's Ronnie Bell all over again. And I think Ronnie Bell just has better. He doesn't turn over the ball. That's something that I know 49er fans covet, right? You don't want the guy. He doesn't turn over the ball. That's something that we kind of squinge when Ray gets the ball because he has the fumbling issues. So there's a possibility that they take 6. It's going to be interesting.